remember what chapter. Hello and welcome to chapter 144 of the DC Alliance podcast. With me, as always, is Joe. Joe, how you doing this evening?
Hi, Travis. I'm doing pretty good. This week starts my not working a full week for the rest of the year, which is nice. But also, I am just recording like crazy from now to the end of the year. So, really, I'm never going to be stopped. I don't know. It's at work. When my fun time becomes my job, I guess it's never fun. But how are you?
I've been better, Joe. I've been better. Unfortunately,
Yeah. So you got the COVID, so you're not really
yesterday
doing the
morning
greatest.
I tested positive for COVID. I haven't had any flu-like symptoms. I've just had fever, terrible headache, and body fatigue and chills. But uh, my pregnant girlfriend, caught COVID from me. She tested positive this morning after testing negative yesterday. So now I'm in more of a take care of her mode. So yeah,
I
it's terrible, but it's the first time we've had it. I
2
can't really
years, like
complain.
you
2
did
years.
great.
Yeah,
Well, two and a
and
half
I
years.
think I would be a lot worse if it wasn't vaccinated. So I'm
Oh yeah, when I called I called it literally a year ago.
yeah.
This week a year ago, and I lost my sense of smell.
I haven't
I
done that.
couldn't really there was maybe some fatigue, but it wasn't the best. But yeah, I had both COVID shots at the time. I hadn't got my boosters yet. Actually, I still haven't got my boosters. But yeah, I stayed down here basically the entire time and stayed away from everybody. And I slept on the couch. Slept on the air mattress downstairs. That way, I'm not sharing the bed and getting my girlfriend sick.
I had a feeling she was going to get it because we were interacting the day before a
Yep.
lot, and then I tested positive the next day. So it sucks, but I'm feeling a lot better, and I did not want to miss this cast because we're going to honor the man himself, our Batman. My Batman. I kind of got a feeling he's Joe's Batman as well. Maybe he's my Batman.
He's up there. I'll put it that way.
He's the voice I hear when I read Batman comics, and we couldn't
Yes.
do this alone.
Nope.
So we had to be joined by another huge Kevin Conroy Batman fan and a huge DC fan in general, the host of Marvel Alliance and World's Finest True Believers, Chris Balga. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, guys. A little under weather myself. Not COVID, but it's definitely, first time been a little down in the weather all weekend, so it was not a enjoyable long weekend. But if I have to pay the dues now or have a much better Thanksgiving, I'll take it.
Yeah, it doesn't help that the weather just is changing constantly. We had 70-degree weather earlier last week, and then it snowed Friday and Saturday, and it's going to be in the 30s all week this week in Indiana. Ooh. So the Mother Nature wants to get everybody sick. It's that time of the year.
Yeah, unfortunately, the flu is going around pretty crazy here in this country as well. Several different versions, but we're going to power through this and we're going to pay tribute to the man himself. But before we do that, I got to get the network plugs out of the way. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance with 8 shows in total. On Mondays is Ranger Alliance, and that rotates bi-weekly with Slice of Film. On Tuesdays is DC Alliance. On Wednesdays is Superhero Discussions. On Thursdays is Star Wars Alliance. On Fridays is Marvel Alliance. On Saturdays, bi-weekly, as we walk through the multiverse. And Sundays, monthly, is World's Finest True Believers. DC Alliance goes live on the Geekverse YouTube channel Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Star Wars Alliance goes live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, and Marvel Alliance goes live Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. All 3 of those shows also have their own podcast feeds. Search Marvel Alliance, DC Alliance, or Star Wars Alliance if you just want Marvel content, DC content, or Star Wars content. But if you want all 8 shows on the GUA Podcast Network, stay subscribed to the GUA on your podcast app of choice. We also have a Patreon, 2 tiers, a $1 tier and a $5 tier. The $1 tier is basically a tip jar. You like what we're doing and you want to help us out any way you can. And the $5 tier is where you get your extras. You get your ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon exclusive episodes. Myself and Joe have finally put together the plan to record Swamp Thing. It will be done on Wednesday, and we'll be going through all the DC films through the years. We also have Chris as part of the Marvel Alliance guys doing their We Can Watch This All Day, and a little birdie told me that they may be recording a new episode really soon. So
tonight.
Patrons, be on the lookout for that when it gets edited and thrown into the Patreon page. So we also have Joe's Multiverse Minutes, Clay's Watches for the first time, Katie going through Star Wars comics with her husband. And if you're a fan of Halloween movies at all, there are 37 on the Patreon page that Joe reviewed. Some horror, some just straight Halloween. Even though Halloween is past, it's definitely still a fun listen, especially a lot of the horror ones are applicable anytime, and not just Halloween. So check those
Exactly.
out as well. I think that's everything, guys. Let's get into the unfortunate news that we got over the weekend. Well, not even to end last week, Thursday, Friday. Oof, really tough to get this one. It was a gut punch, if I'm going to say it. To be honest with you, I immediately went and started. We'll talk about this in a second, but unfortunately, Kevin Conroy, the man who voiced Batman for over 30 years, passed away at the age of 66. Said he had a battle with cancer. Not much more has been given besides that.
Did
I'll
we
ask
know
you
he
guys-
had cancer, or did he kind of keep
no,
that one quiet? I thought he had kept it quiet.
I think he pulled a Norm Macdonald where he kind of kept it
Yeah.
on the down low. Before we get into some of our favorite performances and all that, I just got to ask you guys, Chris, first with you, like, what did Kevin Conroy's Batman mean to you, and how did you take this news?
Oh, when I found out, I was literally getting ready to get out of my car from going grocery shopping, and I just had to stay in there for 5 minutes just because I was just in shock. It gut punch doesn't even put it lightly. It's one of those things that, my wife knows I'm all into this geek stuff, things like that, but telling her what happened just doesn't, wasn't, it's not going to have the impact of that understanding. It's like you all know. At that point, I was there for the very first episode that when it was aired on Fox, whatever channel it was when I lived in Connecticut. I was there day one. I have been one of his biggest fans. Never got to meet him. I had a friend who met him this summer who got me a nice mini poster signed by Kevin Conroy saying, "I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman." And when I'd received that, I even tweeted out when I got it, said, "Hey, you don't know me, but you've had such an impact on me as a fan, and just to thank you." There were times definitely where when I first heard the news, started crying about it, just because it's my childhood. It's someone that got me through some formidable times and has always been there as the voice of Batman, and just an amazing human being beyond the voice. Just literally doubled down on being the voice of Batman and just welcomed every kind of positivity about it. I mean, the stuff that was shared on Twitter, just the love that was showed, it was a bright spot for a weekend that has been in a number of weeks or months that have just been not a lot of positive. And just us sharing those memories, sharing cameos, some mutual sharing, some very personal cameos that he did. The world has lost an amazing soul.
I couldn't agree more. Joe, what about you?
Yeah, I'm right there with Chris. The animated series was, if not the first, definitely the earliest interpretation of Batman that I ever saw, and it stuck with me. It helped me enjoy the Batman comics, like enjoy the Batman mythology, and even the Batman animated series comics from the 90s. Like it just, I had jumped on that at such a young age. And like you said, Travis, I'm right there with you. I'm sure Chris is the same way. When you read Batman, it's Kevin Conroy's voice. 30 years. This man was Batman and Bruce Wayne. And not only did he do it for the TV shows, Batman, Batman Beyond, Justice League, all that, but he also was the voice of Batman in the video games, some of the best Batman video games ever. And then
the best.
I
Putting it down
mean,
there. Well, besides Batman for NES, I gotta say
the Lego Batmans were pretty awesome. I'm just saying.
that's true too. You're not wrong.
But like, he also did a ton of the movies, pre New 52 and pre this new set, the Rebirth set that we're doing. Like he was Batman, plain and simple. And not only that, like, he was just a tremendous voice actor. Like, he did so much work. Yes, Batman is his go-to. That's the thing people know him best for. But like, I'm looking through his filmography, I completely forgot that he did a voice on Venture Brothers. Mm-hmm. He was the Mr. Sunshine, or whatever the heck his name was, on Venture Brothers. And I'm like, holy, yeah, that makes sense. Yes. Just he was. It's a loss. It's a tremendous loss. You know, he's 66 years old, such a young age, and there's nobody like him in the voicing community. There's plenty. Well, I shouldn't say nobody like him. There's a ton like him, but his voice is one that will be missed throughout all of this.
I couldn't agree with both of you guys anymore. It was such a gut punch for me when I saw this. First thing, because we live in this day and age, your first hope, honestly, is that it's a fake. Because there's a couple times this past year where people have been announced that they were dead and they came out saying, no, that's not true. Maybe people got this a little mixed up. That was my first initial hope. But then when you see the multiple tributes from the different voice actors that played him, you kind of knew that. And like Chris said, I was here and I went in the room and sat down for a solid 10 minutes and was so down the dumps about this. Then I went to tribute immediately. I went out, re-downloaded Arkham Knight, started playing that while I had Mask of the Phantasm on my iPad.
Nice.
And it was sad. And then you hear all these stories. There's not one bad word said about him by anyone that worked with him or anyone in the industry. You hear the stories like the 9/11 story where he goes to help serve food, and just his voice helped, like, people knowing that he was Batman literally turned people's spirits around in that terrible time, even if it was just for 20 minutes or something. And he really found a beauty in Batman. To hear him speak, like Chris said, to hear him speak about the importance of the character, my God, listened to him several times in several different clips over this past weekend speaking about that, and every time it got me so, like, waterworks. I was shocked because I've been beating the drum. I wanted him to do the voice for Batman, the Cape Crusader show. I wanted the JL Justice League and Justice. That's not coming back now, in my opinion. You cannot replace his Batman. So I don't even know. I don't think we'll see any more of that DCAU. I think this is basically the official retirement of that part of the animated universe, which is a sad thing in its own right, because that was my childhood. That's what got me into DC, because Batman 89 scared the poop out of a young Travis when he first watched it. And then I dreamt Joker was coming for us every night for 2 weeks. And yeah, when I saw Batman the animated series, that changed completely. Going into school, talking to people about it. Oh my God, it was thinking a spot in the animated series for me. And then you go to Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. And I was very skeptical. How is Batman going to fit in with all these superheroes? You can barely have Superman and Batman interacting for very long in this world before you have to separate them. But it was amazing. He stood out in those shows. He stood toe-to-toe with the heroes. And I don't know, it renewed my faith. And when we got Arkham games, all that stuff, just icing on the cake for me. The Killing Joke, even though it was not my favorite adaptation, we will never not get that last. We'll always have that last similar interaction between his Batman and Joker, where you get that exact picture. If you want to cut the entire movie besides that point, we'll not criticize you for it.
Well, you just cut out that first 40 minutes, and then you're fine.
Yeah. So the best thing is his work will stand the test of time. Like, there will never be a time where I won't watch his stuff. His voice will live on forever. Till the day I stop reading comics, I will always hear his voice for Batman. And it just sucks. Like you guys said, cancer sucks. This is just crap. And
fuck cancer.
I don't know.
Totally.
It's just
it's one of those things that I didn't mention this part. I had watched it. I had saw the news. I literally just sat down to go see Black Panther, and it's in the chat, and I'm like, well, that, huh? No.
Going to be honest with you, probably not the best film to go in with that mindset.
No,
considering it's like a 2 hour and 40-minute funeral.
Yeah, but I was able to work through it. But then when I was done, I saw that Scott over at DC Squadcast put out his Scott shots over at Patreon, and I listened to that on the drive home. And man, it was a great episode that Scott put out there. It was definitely rough to listen to, but he needed. I even text him. I'm like, beautiful episode. Like, this was needed. And he's like, yeah, the words had to come, is what he said, or something along the lines. I can't exactly remember. But yeah, no, like this, it was a shock to everybody. A shock to our circles, and Yeah, you guys said it. It's been nothing but love, the outpouring from everybody that has been sharing their experiences with Kevin through the years, and there's just no one said any bad thing, nothing bad about him, and the world lost an icon.
Mm-hmm.
So
before we get into some of our favorite performances, we're going to take our first ad break of the evening. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, guys. I got to ask you now, I did up 10 of my favorite performances plus some honorable mentions because I had a feeling some of these would be taken from you guys. So I just wanted to have at least 5 there that were original. Yeah, so I guess I'm going to throw it to you first, Chris. You want to give some of your favorite performances?
Yeah, I know we're all gonna have this on this list, but I'll be the jerk that takes it. It'll always be my number one. I've got the image from DC on Screen that David C. Robertson did for the episode, but for their review of Mask of the Phantasm, that movie is still, I consider, to be the best, almost the best portrayal of Batman. Kevin just is a way that he delivers the emotion of Bruce Wayne, like we said, begging on the gravestone, release me from my promise I made. Please, I never thought I'd be happy. But then when he puts on that mask for the first time and, Alfred goes, my God. And, the way that he delivers the lines and the banter, like that is him at his finest. Others, I'll go to maybe some of ones that won't be probably on your list, but Perchance to Dream is the Mad Hatter taking basically putting him in, giving him basically everything he's ever wanted. It's basically their version of For the Man Who Has Everything for Superman, and just giving him everything he's ever wanted, and him just like finding a way of saying, this doesn't make sense. I'm happy, but I shouldn't be. There's something missing. This isn't right. And going back and forth with that. Appointment in Crime Alley, just dealing with so much of the emotions and meeting Leslie Tompkins and understanding what Crime Alley means to him beyond the death of his parents. And then probably, giving you all a chance is something a lot of people don't choose, but it's because of the ending of it, is Zatanna.
Nice.
And I want to give kind of credit where credit was due, when I believe it was the DCAU review put out like a bunch of clips, and they put out that clip right there. And I said, I read my tweet, it's like, I can't explain why, but this scene between Zatanna and Batman at the end has always been permanently etched in my memory, where she goes, what made you put on this mask and go on this mission? What could have happened to you? And he says, a painful memory and a promise. And she goes, for basically for what it's worth, I could say you're fulfilling that promise pretty well, and for what it's worth, Dad would have been proud. And that just like that moment, just like for that moment in time, it's I said it just hits so hard to give Bruce and Batman validation for his mission from someone he cares about so much.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Joe,
Sure.
What about you?
So I didn't go with the show, so you don't have to worry about me picking any of your stuff, Travis. But I only have a couple. And first one is, it's toward the end of the movie, but in Superman Batman Apocalypse, where he stands off against Darkseid, and just he literally threatens him, like, stop this or I blow up your planet. That's a wonderful scene because this mortal man is going up against a literal god and made him blink.
Yeah.
Just perfect.
Yeah.
Another one is one that always sticks out to me because I watched it when I was younger, is the Batman Beyond Return of the Joker. and he's telling Terry when Terry's fighting Joker's like, no, you can't, like, just hit him hard, drop him, and don't let him talk. And Terry's just like, but I like to talk. And so he defies Bruce. He just defies that moment of all of these years of Bruce's knowledge. And yeah, Bruce is the one who has, like, he's faced off against Joker so many times, but this is a new Joker. And I thought Kevin playing Batman in Batman Beyond, playing Bruce in Batman Beyond was just wonderful to begin with. He did such a wonderful job. And then seeing him in that role in Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker was just great. And then I had another one. I can't remember what it was now. Was it? I talked about, obviously, Venture Brothers earlier, but that's a whole different thing. That whole is just great. But probably Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, because that movie is, yes, Mask of the Phantasm is
honorable
amazing.
mention, Joe. Honorable mention for me.
Sub-Zero was, I had just watched it for the first time earlier in the year, and I loved it. Just the way that, I mean, it really is it's a Mr. Freeze story, but Batman in it is, Batman and Batgirl really are just having a good, I don't even know the best word to say. He did a great job.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Okay, I'll dust off my list here a little bit because Chris knocked off 1 and 3. I think he was nice enough. I think he was nice enough to leave me number 2 from the animated series, which is Beware the Gray Ghost. This is
got my Gray Ghost right back there.
Perfect.
This was just, I recommend this episode probably the most if you want to get his performance, because he does 3 different voices here. He does his voice, he does Thomas Wayne's voice, and he does the Batman voice. He does Bruce, Batman, and Thomas Wayne. And you get different versions of all 3 voices, and it's fantastic. And now it's even more meeting with Adam West and now Kevin Conroy both being in that episode.
Yep.
I would say that line just at the end, just when he goes like, my father and I used to watch you as a child, and the Gray Ghost was my hero, and he still is, especially after he said that line to him as Batman.
I loved everything about that. Two-Face. I don't think many people would think that one, but I love how the Harvey thing through the Batman the animated series, you see that weighs on him. What happens here weighs on him throughout the entirety of the series. Whenever he encounters Two-Face, it always comes back up. So I just liked how that was there. The Man Who Killed Batman is another one because it just shows the importance of Batman to all the people in Gotham, including people you would never think, like Joker, for example. I love that as well. But I want to really get into some of the JL and JLAU stuff that some people won't have. This Little Piggy, where you hear his fantastic singing voice, amazing. The Once and Future
going around,
the Once and Future thing, where you get him playing both old Bruce and current Bruce interacting with Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis.
Yes.
Loved everything about that. Injustice for All, where he's captured by the Injustice Gang, but I'm going to use captured, and then people like Martian Manhunter are basically insulting his capabilities, thinking he can't still hold his own, but then he gets captured again on purpose and single-handedly breaks down the entire Injustice Gang while being handcuffed and no way of moving. So I love that episode as well. And Epilogue, of course, because that's when he sits with the girl. I want to say her name is Ace, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's so hard. That's so impactful.
Well,
that
especially, it was great, but it also, like, when you get to the ending, and I love the line he tells Terry, you're a stubborn piece of work, that.
Got it. Get it from my old man.
Yeah.
I love that. And like we talked about, the Arkham video games, that was my final spot. And some honorable mentions. Joe mentioned a couple of them, Return of Joker and Sub-Zero. Batman, Superman, Public Enemies is the other film in that 2 film that is also really good, and you get a really great bond between Superman and Batman throughout that whole episode. And going to give the man a little shout out too for his Crisis on Infinite Earths cameo. While I didn't enjoy the actual whole finished product of the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, I love seeing him as getting a chance to be physically Batman and not animated Batman. I
The
know
fact that he got the voice Batman and then play Batman,
and he was in his mech suit, basically like an older version, kind of like Kingdom Come in a sense. I just love that. I know it like Batman kind of went off the rails and that universe killed everybody, but I just love seeing him get the chance to be live action Bruce. That's something that I really love. If I was doing things, I probably would have brought him in for Titans instead of Game of Thrones. No difference.
I mean,
in age, I don't think there is. So if you're going to do Old Man Bruce, you may as well
honestly, I'm happy they didn't go Kevin Conroy in Titans because it's just the way that they made.
Yeah, he doesn't deserve that. I know.
So
yeah. There are a few more on mine. Robin's Reckoning.
Ooh, that was one I was proud of it putting on there.
Just the whole back sequences, especially as that it's also been going around with him, with Alfred telling him, you can do what you want, but there's a boy in there that's just needs someone to be there, just like, basically like I was to you. And, just him trying to relate to Dick and make sure that, for everything crashing down at that moment, that he can be someone that he can trust and he can be the father that he doesn't have anymore, and just be that person to fall and trust. It's again, Conroy had such a great difference between Bruce and Batman that he could switch it, and not only that, just the different years that he had. And Justice League Unlimited, the Cadmus arc, there was so much that Conroy did with Batman, and like especially when he got Sinister and trying to go toe to toe with Waller, especially when he looks at goes in and breaks into it. So what do you? Oh, no, I think the line that really does it for me, and I've used this so many times with people, and when they're all getting ready to turn themselves in, what? That is the single most dumbest idea you all have come up with. We've all voted. We said, he said, you have to do it, Bruce. No, I don't. You forget. I'm a part-timer, remember, and clicks off, and then goes after Waller and stuff like that. I'm a part-timer, remember?
And Wonder Woman immediately says, that went a lot better than I thought it was.
Yeah.
You're like, at least they know, And Chris, I'm glad you brought that up too, because I really enjoyed that whole arc. Like I said, when she tried to take Lone Star, struggling with name, it's been a while. But when they try to take him and he steps up and she puts the guns on him, and then Superman and Aquaman step in front and he's like, my guns are bigger than yours. Another time when he breaks in to speak to her and Eiling comes rushing at him, he just right hooks Eiling, flips him over into the corner, and then chats with Waller. Oh my God. It's just, like you said, it's a great arc. And I really love that version of Batman because I wasn't sure the BTAS Batman could hang with superheroes as much. You didn't get to see it as much. So you got it at scatter time, but not as much. Whereas in Superman, the animated series, you got multiple appearances from different superheroes every season. So I wasn't sure how this was going to work. And then it was perfect. And that intro, that opening scene, that'll be forever for me. It's just, it sucks. It's terrible, but his performances will go on. And I wanted to share this, that Scott shared, and I know Chris shared it as well. This panel for our people on YouTube, which is kind of rough here. It just shows him talking to Gordon.
Well,
he's not.
And then he essentially gives him a note saying, "Oh, I can't even really read that. It sucks."
It's a great tribute for Kevin Conroy as Batman. It's one of those where you can't read it without choking up.
And Tara Strong, voice of Wonder Woman, Susan Eisberg, all these people have been flooding with tributes for him.
It's one of those things where, and I appreciate our friend Tim Rooney sharing the cameo that he got, his friends got for him with Kevin. And if you ever get a chance, there's one one's going around for Christmas, and then Tim's is going around because he shared it openly. And the thing that he always would say is like, the world needs you. the world needs you. Not only does the world need Batman, the world needs you as a person. And he never gave up on his fans. He was always there for his fans, and especially and I put it out there saying, if you haven't read it, you need to read DC Pride to 2022.
It's free to read.
It's currently free, yeah.
Currently free to read on DC Universe Infinite. It's called The Last Story. It's Finding Batman.
It just adds to the layers for him, Chris.
It's one of those things that Kevin would not necessarily. When he would talk about his life at that point, this is a way for him to give a window into how difficult his life was as a gay man. And some people only until recently didn't realize he was gay. And when people was like, you know what, it doesn't matter, because it brings more to his character that anyone could have done this, and he lived and breathed being the voice of Batman, and for so many, and represented so much. So if you get a chance to read, it's 8 pages. It's so worth it. It'll definitely bring a whole new dynamic and respect for that man that did so much for this community.
Oh, it's at times it's heartbreaking too. There's one panel where he's picking up the phone from a Hollywood director, and my God, it's such a gut punch it needs to be read, Chris. That's the best point. Listeners, you should really check that out.
And I'll leave before, I know you guys are getting ready to move on, but I wanted to say one thing that really resonated with me in my life and times that I was, down in the dumps. I found this quote. I don't know when it happened, how he said it. As I find it right now, I want to make sure I quote it correctly. He said, "Everyone is handed adversity in life. No one's journey is easy. It's how they handle it that makes people unique." And, I just want to thank, my heart goes out to his husband, his brother, his sister, his family, his friends, and just thank you for allowing us to be a part of this journey. Even though many of us never met you, just know that you are terribly missed. And as we pass through, watching these, celebrating these with our kids, with our families, just thank you for letting us into your life for this moment in time.
Chris, that was a great point, and I also want to second that, because I'm having a son in the new year, and this will be one of the crash course things I'll get to share with him, and it's something that I will never be able to thank Mr. Conroy for, but I'll always be grateful. That, like you said, that like his character, it got me through some tough times. Everything isn't great all the time, but Batman's always there. You can always watch old episodes. That voice is supposed to be scary, but it's comforting to me. It's always been comforting, and it's sad we'll never hear new Kevin Conroy voice acting, but we have 30 years of Batman to be thankful for, and I wish I could thank him just one more time.
But I will bid my adieu to you, because I've got a Patreon record, but thank you for letting me crash and at least share our mutual love for this man and his career.
Of course.
Thank you for joining us, Chris. It was greatly appreciated.
Thanks, Chris. You're always welcome, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, all.
See
ya.
Okay, Joe.
So
now we have to move on to the shows.
We got this.
And I'm going to tell you just one thing for future. Don't watch more than one Smallville episode, because you may watch a really bad episode and then watch a really good episode and be like, damn, I wish we were talking about.
You watched 2 episodes?
I feel I was lying and watching them today. So after I watched the first one, I'm like, I'm sick. I'm not getting up and changing. I'll just watch the second one. God damn, that was a way better episode. God, what was I doing?
We'll get there.
That's at the back end. That's at the back end. We have a couple DC TV episodes. First one is Titans. We'll talk about this one, then we'll take a break to do Stargirl and Smallville and get out of here. Chris is gone. So Joe, what did you think of Titans episode 403?
I want to talk about the good things first. All right.
Yes.
So because I don't want to be just all shitting on this show. So the good things about this episode. All right. So let's talk about the bad things about this episode. No. This one. This just proves to me that secret identities don't mean shit.
They
this
don't
world?
mean anything in this world. They do not.
Because and Jinx herself, like, okay, cool, we get Jinx, we get a live action Jinx. That's awesome. That's fun. She's
Knows who
nothing.
Batman is.
Yeah, well, because she was dating Dick Grayson.
Yeah, but that's not an excuse to tell who Batman's identity is. I mean, like,
look, I have been reading
and also
Nightwing
Dick's
since it
a
came
bit of
out.
a hoe. Dick's a bit of a
A little
hoe.
bit, a
Who
bit.
Jinx said in this episode was a hoe. So if he let Jinx know, how many other random one night stands did he tell?
Well,
Hey, yeah, I work for Batman.
I
I don't know.
secret identities don't mean anything, and that upsets me because
Yes.
it's like the whole point. The whole point that Bruce was trying to instill into his Robins was, hey, you can't let people know who you are. Your loved ones are going to be in peril, and here Dick is just going around everywhere, walking to Star Labs, walking into jail, walking into a bar.
At least wear your freaking badge.
That makes sense. Yeah, exactly.
Like you don't have your badge. Are you even part of the PD anymore?
I think that's long gone.
Yeah,
that was gone after like episode 3 of season.
I don't even know. Everything blends together a little bit
You're
now.
not wrong.
Like, all I can think about when you talk about that is him being in prison, and that's where he got the stupid Nightwing name that frustrated the hell out of me. That's what they did instead of Superman telling him about Nightwing from his. Yeah. Anyway,
well, they can't have Superman. He's off planet all the time. Apparently.
Yeah, that's another thing. I will say something. I don't expect it from them, but my play, if I was running this, would be to have Brandon Routh as Superman and have an appearance. Not in Kingdom Come, but in between when he's still Superman. Yeah. You don't have to have him in Kingdom Come.
The actor who's playing Connor, they do have some similarities there. Yeah. Like I could see that one.
And you can use him. That's why I don't understand.
He's available. He's not doing anything right now.
And if you had some sort of crisis event in a few years, you still have. Look! Another appearance since then, like two.
I don't think they want.
No, that's not going to happen at all. That's not even. That's why I didn't say Henry Cavill, because they've already made so many decisions in this universe. You can't bring that Superman in. Well, you could say he's completely different. He's not doing that for that.
Wow,
so
that's too much. Other than that, another thing that really bugged me was, okay, cool. Raven lost her powers. Makes sense. I get it. But then Beast Boy or Garfield is hearing these voices, and then he sees like the sky turn red, and Raven can't see it. And I guess by holding his hand, now she can see it.
I don't think that is too much out of the ordinary, because there was a time where she had white hair when she was bringing back the deer.
She still had power, though.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is she still has power. I'm thinking she just has to figure it out. Okay. I don't think that normal. I think she still has power. She just doesn't have the Trigon power. Like I feel like she still has her own magic that she has to discover, and maybe that'll be part of it. Like Herbie. If not,
if they go that way, I like that.
If not, I'm 100% agreement with you. If not, it doesn't make any sense. It's just turn her normal. Although there was a great little discussion about. She said, like, I feel a sense of obligation to the Titans, and I really did like Gar's response, which was, "You didn't choose to have any of this stuff happen to you." So, and you're like, you want to be normal. You don't have to be a Titan. And she throws it back at him too.
Yeah, because the same thing. He did not choose to have this stuff. Like, and she even brings up Niles and Doom Patrol and everything that happened there.
Yeah, he kind of brushed it off immediately. He's like, "Yeah, I'm over that. I'm over that." So I want to ask you something too, because you know a bit more about the comics for things. Beast Boy, this tree, is this any sort of like comic lore? Because I do know like they kind of dived into it a little bit in Young Justice too, with the whole monkey talking to him, telling him about all the animals that he can change into and stuff.
I would have to go. The only Beast Boy like deep dive lore I know that isn't, Teen Titans cartoon or Young Justice cartoon is the Teen Titans Jeff Johns run. And that had they talked about his origin a little bit, about how his parents, he had gotten attacked by maybe a monkey, maybe a lion, I can't remember which, and they to save his life, they injected him with a untested serum, and that's how he got his green skin and all that. So I don't 100% know on the tree thing, but it's definitely weird. Like it's definitely, it seems, what did he say? It's pulling from the like the tribal, like an Indian tribe
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So it's anything's possible. Like
yeah.
I don't
We
know.
we need to see some transformations. Like, I'm just going to be frank here.
Okay, so, well, we're only
You
3
are going to
episodes in.
burn. You're going to burn it. Well, when you tell me, when you have other characters saying like, "Whoa, dude, you just transformed into 3 different animals. It was insane." I'm like, guys, like we've been asking for this for years. Like, well, what are we doing here?
He needs to transform into something next episode.
Yeah, I need to
Because
see them fight.
that's episode 4 of 16.
Yes.
If he does not transform by next episode, we'll get one transformation the entire
Joe,
season.
and I want to say one other thing.
Maybe
This
two.
was filmed. This was filmed before the takeover happened. This was filmed when HBO Max shows had carte blanche, could do whatever you want, and you can see from some of the set pieces.
Yeah.
Budget is not an option for this show to not be good. So I don't want to hear that stuff when it comes to Beast Boy transforming. Not from you, just I don't want to get it from them where we got to show you off screen. I'm sorry, and you got to show us. I need to see him try to fight some bad guys, turn into a gorilla, turn into an elephant.
But he hasn't, like, that's the other thing. Outside of fighting Mother Mayhem, they haven't really, and he didn't even fight her. Like, he immediately went to go help Raven. Or no, he got Tim to safety is what he did.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't fought anybody yet. You know, he even when he was training with Tim in the woods, like, it was all off screen, him stalking him and growling and all this, and then he comes up and he's normal. Like, he hasn't had a reason to transform yet. Hopefully, obviously, by the end of this first half, by episode 8, he'll transform. Maybe.
Yeah. It's just,
I hope.
I don't understand how they won't do that. That would be so shocking to me. That would be like such a terrible, terrible mistake.
Yeah.
What else did
the Starfire thing, Starfire getting transferred to stone, and then having, like, going into her mind. And I did like that they went to the same diner that, you know, Bruce invited them all back in season.
I thought for half a second we were going to see him.
I mean, I've been fine with it. Like,
oh yeah, but I really thought we were going to see Bruce.
I'm glad we didn't.
Same.
But yeah, no, this was her talking to her old teacher, her old mentor from Tamarin. And basically saying, hey, I don't like the fact that she's had a destiny every single season.
No.
Different destiny every single season.
In saying that, they all could tie into this one destiny. Because maybe she had to get rid of Raven so that this wouldn't happen.
Or maybe because now Raven is gone and these red skies happen, maybe that was going to be all tied in, going to be her death. I don't know. But the fact that she's having this mental image and she's talking to her old mentor. And I do like the fact that she was like, hey, so can you help me get me out of the stone? Get me out of here?
Like,
and he's like, yeah, your friend's taking care of that. Don't worry. So it's I don't think it's like a mental, like, memory or anything. I think this is actually like some communication.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Well, Joe, we've seen a couple times from her in the first 2 episodes some I don't know, future backs. I can't call them flashbacks, but future glimpses where she sees
flash forwards.
Dick and her son, and
I think her powers, because we did see, like, her eye glowing when she was still stone, then they zoomed in. I think whatever power set she has now is definitely changing her, and she is probably going to be the most powerful being in the show by the end of the season.
Which is something that I would be all for, because I think this character is so badass.
Starfire is amazing.
I didn't care for Jinx that much, to be honest with you. I was okay, but it didn't stand out for me as a guest star.
One thing that really got me was Dick and Corey walk up to the jail. They're bringing Jinx out, and he asked the guards, like, was she in, like, where was she at? Was she ever allowed outside? It's like, no, she's been in solitary confinement since she's been here. And then she starts to take off her shoe, and none of the guards do anything. Like, they don't know the protocol.
Yeah.
Like, how are you this stupid? How?
I will say, a lot of the penitentiaries I've seen, there's a lot of stupid shit that happens.
Sure, there's a lot of stupid shit that happens, but
Losing your mate.
for somebody who has been in solitary confinement the entire time she's been locked up, these guards have to have asked questions: who she is, what she's doing, why is this happening? Like, they had to have had knowledge, you know?
Yeah.
Apparently not.
And the Sebastian stuff, I just want to say one thing about that. Batman Forever's Riddler called and wants his character back. For part of it anyway, because that's the first thing I noticed and thought about again today when I was watching it, was the whole game thing. I was like, wasn't there a plot about this that I watched? And I finally thought about it. I was like,
damn, that Riddler wasn't by the game. He was just trying to, like, suck people's minds out.
Well, he pitched to Bruce initially to the game when he was still sane.
No, it wasn't a game. That's the thing.
No.
It was like basically virtual reality TV in whatever, in like in your home.
Felt a little similar to me, which you're not
wrong.
I didn't hate it, honestly, to be honest with you, but it's just weird. I don't know anything going on with his character.
What really got me was they realized that he got arrested and the cops were there immediately. So Dick knew it was a setup, knew this was something was going on. Obviously, the Church of Azeroth and Mother Mayhem and that one woman was trying to get him arrested, get him to a spot where they can isolate him and control him. And then Superboy just burst.
I love that, actually.
I hated that.
I didn't like that part. I like the end of that.
Like, captured for killing Lex Luthor and then let go. Like, okay, cool, let's break in and bust out a potential murderer. What?
I'm more so like before he threw it in the car and he's like, "We're the Titans, get in."
Yeah, buckle up.
I was like, okay.
I was,
especially Joe, where he's going to be bad. He was one word away from becoming Brother Blood. I assume so. I don't really know about that. It's going to be really weird for me to take him as probably the biggest villain threat they've had when he's like this. Or how is he going to do the 180 so quickly? Is it just when he says those 3 words?
Well, he's been having these visions of blood constantly, and it definitely seems like he is squeamish around it.
Yeah.
Which probably when he gets that whatever mental block is stopping him, I can definitely see him having a 180 and then being like total, all right, fuck everybody.
I'm hoping for that kind of stuff, and where this may be the final season, we're going to talk about the episode in a little tiny bit here. I don't know if all the players will be left by the time this season's over.
If this is the final season, we're going to lose. I'm going to say 2 people.
Yeah,
I'm going to say Raven, which I don't want to because I do like her character. Her character has grown a ton since season 1.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say Raven and probably, I don't want to say Corey.
No.
But I could see her sacrificing herself.
I'm going Superboy.
Superboy would be one that
the opposite of what Lex would do.
Yes, definitely. I don't think they'll kill off Tim. I could see Gar. Like, I could see Beast Boy going. That's a possibility. He could sacrifice himself for Raven, maybe.
Yeah.
But they won't kill Dick. But there's also, we have the potential of Donna Troy coming back because she's, alive now.
Yeah.
We've got the possibility of Dawn showing up. Could have, who knows? We could have a plethora of other Titans show up throughout the years. I'm not saying they'll all die, but we got potential cameo spots coming up. It'd be nice.
Yeah, and we had Aqualad for one episode and he was killed, so don't rule anything out.
But that's the other thing. Like, they they have not shied away from killing people. You know,
Which was frustrating because I really enjoyed the portrayal of that character and his powers and all that. And
I thought he did an amazing job.
I'm
But
like,
yeah,
oh,
they killed him. They
is he
killed
coming
Hawk.
back? Is he
They
coming
killed-
back?
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
Well, my thought when we
Look,
saw him
hold
in the
on.
past was, is he going to link up with the crew now? That was my thought when we were watching it.
let me put it this way, which it eventually will lead into our next segment, our next show. What's death? You know, like Dick died and came back after bats sucked on him,
Oh,
and then we got Donna came back. Hawk almost came back.
I think he
Tim
realized his
came back.
body was in pieces and he couldn't actually come back. Sorry, you can't come back, but everyone else can.
You got nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah, like who knows? Like maybe Aqualad could come back.
I don't think it was as bad as I was expecting. I think it's because I misinterpreted your message and thought Stargirl was the worst. You thought Stargirl was the worst of the two episodes.
Oh no, Stargirl was better than Titans.
So I misinterpreted the initial message you sent me. So
Fair.
that's why I was like, but this was I don't know what's going on yet.
This season has been just up and down, and who knows? Like
it needs to be a cohesive story, Joe.
If this gets another season.
Oh, I don't think it is. It sucks because everything is here for a great show besides the writing.
It is just the writing sucks
and the story. Like,
I will say one thing I caught that kind of bugged me a little bit when the guards were getting killed off in the beginning. The two that got bit by the blood spider, that first guard that got bit, he instead of keeping his mouth shut and then spitting the blood before he even got bit, his mouth was. And you saw the bloody teeth because apparently my dude can't follow directions. But okay, it's fine.
Also, I wanted to check this out. I'll probably do it a little bit later. There was on Dick's license plate to his car. It was JLL447, I think. Which I want to check. Is that a comic or anything? That's something that I'm a little interested in. 447. So that's something I'm going to look up later. Was playing COVID on that being looked up beforehand. But yeah, Joe, I think that's pretty much everything for Titans. Let's take our final ad break of the evening before we take on Stargirl and our Smallville retro recap. Listeners, we're an ad-supported network. We don't pick the ads or the volume. I'm going to give you a quick 3 count to adjust your volume, and we'll be right back in 3, 2, 1. And we're back. Okay, Joe. We have Stargirl on deck here now. And I still, like you said, what is death? What really is death?
Okay, so this episode, like I said, was better than 2, and even that is reaching because this is another episode that is coming from everywhere. Like we talked about last week when Ultra Humanite showed up at the very end. And they explain it in this episode how.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, thank you for explaining it here. I wish we'd had an explanation like season 1 or 2 at any point in time, but we didn't. So here we are, and so that's fine. We've got Mike and Hakeem, running away from him, and the Thunderbolt being Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
So
I gotta say something. I love the voice way more when it was Jim Galifianakis. I don't like it as much with Seth Green. I'm sorry, Seth.
Seth Green's fine.
Yeah,
but
it's okay,
Galifianakis was better.
It's just a pretty lofty shadow that you're.
But I also think the thing is that with Galifianakis, he showed up was that season 2 or was it season 1?
Season 2.
He didn't do a lot. Like there was maybe 3 or 4 episodes he was in the entire time.
Yeah, because that wasn't even really introduced. We got a glimpse of the pen in the first season that was still in
and then I think by the end of season 2 is when we actually saw the Thunderbolt.
Yeah,
but I mean he has been throughout this entire season, so I'm obviously Galifianakis just didn't have the time to commit to this one. So Seth Green is a good replacement. He's doing a good job.
He's doing a good job. It's just sometimes I just really love Jim's portrayal of that character. But I enjoyed that part, the two of them. One thing I will say, how they got away from Ultra Humanite, who is supposedly one of the harder people that the JSA has ever fought, but those two got away.
Well, he wished, like they did a wish
he took them
of
to
take
the
us
Ryan
home.
wish first. The Ryan wish first. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And so they end up in the middle of the woods, and that's why Ultra Humanite was chasing them somewhere. So he was always far behind them.
Can I complain to you about something?
You can complain to me about anything. What you got?
Rick is really frustrating the hell out of me.
Rick's a dick.
It's just really frustrating me that you can't see and you don't understand when everyone's talking to you about how off the rails you're going at all points in time, and you've been using the hourglass for forever, not taking it off at all.
Yeah,
just keeping it tied to him.
Once he took the limiter off, here you go. We're good.
Terrible decision,
right? Because it's causing him to not, I don't want to say misjudging his inhibitions, but he's taking risks that he normally wouldn't take.
He was a bit of a loose cannon before too, like fly off the handle. But now it seems like this is the fact that he's wearing it all the time is really messing with him. And I bet he's going to find something, probably in the next episode, from his father, detailing why the regulator is key. I hope so anyway, because he's off the rails. He's shouting at Beth's parents. And
yeah, like they literally are like they're asking him how he's doing. He's like, I'm fine. Beth is like, well, why don't we take the hourglass off for 10 minutes? Just 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he just walks up to her and glares like, don't tell me what to do, and then storms off.
Don't ever tell me what to do. Okay, dude.
She's not telling you. She's trying to reach you, dude. Like, calm down.
Who literally stormed into the McCants and set this whole shit show into motion.
Yep.
By punching first and not asking questions. So it was just very shocking to me that Rick is still taking it. Now, it's frustrating, but if you tell me that it's because of the hourglass, give me a bit of an explanation. I'll be okay with that. I'll be a little bit pissed that he took this line to figure that out, that he's acting unreasonable. Okay, because
but it lines up with his character, though. It lines up with his character because in the beginning, in season 1, he was definitely like short-tempered, didn't want to get close to anybody, and all the hourglass did for that hour was give him the power that he wanted to then take out whatever revenge he could. Now he's got that power for 24/7, and he thinks he's invincible until Cameron kicked his ass, and then he's just like, well, I'm sorry, but I'm still not giving up. Like he's like, one of his eyes is caved in, literally. Like it's just black. Well, purple, but and the dude is not realizing that how screwed he is,
Yeah, and I just hope that it like hits him now instead of like the season finale. Like, can we get it before that?
We all got a couple episodes left, and
and I don't know what's going on.
If it doesn't hit him on the next episode, it better be the episode before the season finale. So.
Yeah, like I don't need it at the season finale. Question.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out the best way to ask you this, but what is Courtney thinking? Like, in all honesty, to team up with the McCants, and especially now, like that got to be thrown out. That got to be out the window, right? Or does Cameron stand up to his spoilers that we'll talk about in a little tiny bit?
So the fact that the Crocs had gone to the McCants to basically be like, look, what Courtney and JSA are doing is actually better for the town. Like, it's actually, yes, your son was killed, and yes, it sucks. Your son was the only reason why we joined the ISA. Like, his ideas was wonderful, and it was great, but it became bigger than what he had promised. That's why he died, and we're sorry. Like, we are,
which is
but
still the opinion
you guys,
which was the opinion of the grandfather too before all
correct,
this shit happened.
exactly. But by them basically going to them and be like, look, you need to learn to forgive. You need to learn to grow. You don't forget. You don't need to forget, but you need to forgive and move on.
Yeah.
And the grandparents are actually listening, which I thought was big. I thought that was
Yeah.
amazing. I thought that was awesome, especially since I have actually enjoyed the arc the Crocs have had this season of them. Yes, they were the bad guys, and they were starting to, they were annoying Pat and
They
Barbara
had that's a
constantly.
good way to put it, Joe. That's a good tense to put it.
What are you talking about? Um, and they were just becoming these characters that were, I mean, yeah, they were constantly pestering these guys, but they were becoming friends. You saw that with Tigress and Barbara. Like, they were friends. They actually were supporting each other and helping each other out
Well, Tigress
constantly.
stands up to Grandma McCann and
Yep.
saves Barbara, and then teaches her how to shoot. And she
Uh-huh.
says, "I don't want to see my only friend
Outside of
killed."
my family killed. Yeah. It was very touching. And then we get the scene
You
of
know what
of,
was so
of
no, Joe.
no, hold on, hold on,
I'm
hold
gonna
on.
say something.
No. We get the scene of Ararat, what's her name?
Artemis.
Artemis, thank you. Calling them, be like,
Yes,
I got
yes.
in. I got into college. It's amazing. And they're both like, cool. We're gonna celebrate when we get home. You did a wonderful job. We love you. Oh God.
When Crack said everything's coming up for the Cracks,
Yep.
I knew then. I was like, oh no,
Like,
no, you're not
why?
doing this to me, are you? Like, you
Yes.
finally got me to care about these characters. And so there's first of all 120% stupid for them to go when they saw some things to go into the sewer system when you got like super powered people that you could probably call and say like, hey, let's all
you're
go back
literally
there.
part of that group now. Like,
Yeah, so
get
that
a hold
was
of them.
that was I don't even want to see what Artemis is going to be like next episode. Like,
Dude, Artemis could be
devastated
she's gonna
because
be wrecked.
say what you want about those people and they were great parents to her.
Hell yes, they were.
Like,
Very, very supportive. They broke out of jail to watch her get
Try it.
recruited.
Yeah.
And then they went back to jail. Like,
Yeah.
they are like the best parents a kid like that could have
Yeah. So I really
had.
interested to see how that goes because they go investigating. They see some
Ugh.
of Crack's gym flyers, and they're coming up from the sewer system. So they go down there, and Sportsmaster is stabbed first, and then Tigress is grabbed and frozen. And
Did you expect this?
Yeah, when I saw them starting to freeze,
Yes.
yes,
But it was one of those things where
no, I didn't think it was Cameron.
so my first initial thought was Cameron, but I was like, no, that'd make no sense.
Yeah, he'd go off the rails way too quick,
Yeah.
and that's no people that are associated anything to do with anything that happened. So, yeah, it was pretty shocking because Icicle is back.
Jordan's back.
Jordan
alive.
McCann is alive. Now,
Which
I will say one
almost-
thing: when he got destroyed by the truck, my first initial thought was like, "You're superpowered ice." Like the first thing I thought of it was the guy from Spider-Man the animated series who was water.
Yep, Hydro Man.
Hydro Man that could come back. That's the first thing I thought was like, wouldn't he just like recoagulate and reform
and that's the
himself?
thing. Like Icicle, he was in his icicle form when he got hit.
Yeah.
So he became nothing but snow, basically. It would take some time to reconfigure yourself.
Yep.
But you could do it. Like it, yeah.
But I because the way that his death has hung over the show for the last 2 seasons, from the Cameron not knowing and he's going to have to know to this season.
Yep.
It just seems like it took all the impact of his death away.
It did. Plus, it doesn't make sense that he's the one. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense that he was the one watching everybody.
Well, if you watch the preview for the next episode,
I did not.
They like he's 100% back. Like he's not lurking in the shadows. He has returned. So
that kind of makes Courtney's sacrifice of saving Mike to Cameron kind of like irrelevant almost.
Yeah, it really just does all that.
Yeah,
I really love the fact that she wouldn't tell him, and she said,
"Yeah,
I
like
did.
she threw herself under the bus."
Well, Mike doesn't have powers, and that would
that's
be
not the point, though.
terrible. Like dead man walking on a green mile if you told him that. So
technically, Courtney doesn't have powers. All she has is a staff.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
So
Mike has nothing. Doesn't even have the pen.
yeah, exactly. He lost the pen.
So I'm just like I was nervous.
It's
I was so scared that she was actually going to tell her, Joe. I'm not gonna lie. I thought she
see,
was
I
gonna come
didn't.
clean.
I
Okay.
I think I 100% was convinced she was gonna throw herself under the bus for that one.
Okay.
Because as much as they fought in the season one, her and Mike are brothers. Like they love each other. They're brother
Yeah.
and sister. You know
Yeah.
that
I just
that
thought where
family has
he
grown.
said, "Please tell me the truth, please, please." I thought that she would, because she held that secret against him for so long, she would just tell him accidentally and didn't have to go and be like protect Mike. So
Well, but
that
look at it this way: with Jordan back, now Cameron and Courtney could be together, right?
the last thing Cameron said to her is, "I don't ever want to see you again."
I
So
know, but that's because he thought she killed his dad. Now his dad's back.
I think we're going to have an ironic twist. I'm calling it now that Cameron's going to have to kill his father.
I mean, happened with what Mindwave,
Brainwave.
Brainwave. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like
And
so,
Brainwave Jr. And I think maybe that'll even be told in this. Joe,
probably.
the other thing, the other thing that I wanted to tell you from watching the preview is when Jordan takes off his glove, his hand is pretty damaged. It's not like normal fingers that we saw of him before. It's
Okay.
jagged pieces for a couple.
Oh,
I'm not sure if it's
interesting.
whole hand. So I don't know if he didn't come back all the way. If he's a bit different now because a little part of him didn't come back.
Yeah.
But I don't know about that. I am really interested to see how he's going to operate because that was shocking. That was really good ending where
Yeah.
where they like I love you
That
too.
again, and then he, phew, like, and that's how I knew. Like stabbing, you can stab with ice, whatever. But like him using his powers, like as he did, and destroy, literally making them dust. I'm like, fuck, he is back. Okay.
And that's while we know that this is the final season and they knew that too, that makes sense, a little bit more sense to me. If
Yeah.
there was another season of the show, I would have been terribly frustrated that those people were killed, even though I
Now-
couldn't stand them in the second season.
Now, with that being said, it would make sense why Ultra Humanite would go after the gambler.
Yep.
Icicle sent him after him.
Mhm.
So okay, so potentially these last 3 episodes could bring this whole season like actually together.
It could.
But
Will
the fact
it?
that it took the whole season, it's freaking Westworld all over again. Like
Yeah.
Westworld is a brilliant show, but you didn't really have connectivity until the final couple episodes.
And that's
And then it
all
made the
right
show better.
every once in a while, but that's
But it
not
was
something
every
you
single
can
season for
use
Westworld.
every season because
Which is
that-
why he got canceled.
that frustrates people and makes people lose part of the show where they're not
Yeah.
sure where it's going.
So,
we do
like,
this
the
for a
fact that
podcast where we speculate, but
The
you
fact
know.
that they did that for this season of Stargirl was very annoying at best.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Yeah, so I'm hoping they do something because
There's the final 3 episodes are The Haunting, chapter 11, The Haunting, chapter 12, The Last Will and Testament of Sylvester Pemberton, and chapter 13, The Reckoning.
okay.
Yeah, so these are the next. Oh yeah, we're gonna have one more break, like you said, next after we got one episode next week, and then in 2 days, and then we don't have another. We have a break for a week.
I
for
figured because that's Thanksgiving week here in America, so I figured.
AKA listeners, Travis's birthday. Doo doo doo. Yeah.
All right.
So I'm don't know how they're going to stick this landing. I hope so because there was parts of this season that I really enjoyed and other parts that were a little frustrating to me. I just hope that they end on a strong note, Joe. But that ending where Icicle killed the Crocs.
That was a good ending. Like
That was a great ending. That's probably the best ending they've had all season. I was
shocked. I was, like I said earlier, I was a little, I was devastated. It gave me an emotional response because I grew to like these characters this season.
Yeah, especially even this episode. Like she saved Barbara. If it wasn't for her, Barbara would be dead.
Well, like a couple episodes back, you had Sports Bastard talking to Pat. It's like, hey man, we're kind of friends now, like. Tell me what's going on with Mike's mom. Like,
yeah, that was
like that was a heart to heart. Like, when they find out, man.
Oh my God, they're all. And how are they going to find out, Joe? That's the thing. I assume Artemis is going to come to them and say, "Mom and Dad didn't come home last night."
Gonna have to, yeah.
But
think
how are they
she
going to
will.
find out? Like, is Jordan going to straight up tell them, laughing maniacally, or because the way I saw the preview, Jordan's trying to step right back into the life he had beforehand. Just going right to
Interesting.
City Hall.
Okay.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Yeah,
Uh,
let's put that plan back together. We got this. Wait a
yeah.
minute.
So it's I don't know. Maybe that's not even him. Maybe this is another experiment by Dragon.
Maybe it's Brainwave. Who
Yeah.
knows?
I
But
don't. We can't. There's no crumbs to make us understand what is happening right now and how this is working out.
again,
There are zero crumbs.
because this season has been so like, oh, we're getting a big thing. Nope, never mind. Oh, it's another big thing in this episode. Nope, never mind. Oh, we're connected
here are
with
the
stuff. Nope, never mind.
Oh, here are the 2 best episodes of the season. Oh, they don't have anything to do with the overarching story.
Yep. It's all
Oh,
separate.
man. I will say too, they had 3 really good episodes, the 2, and then the episode after that.
Yeah.
Those were enjoyable episodes, and then this one was a little bit of a mess. I'll agree with you on that, Joe.
The ending was great, but the episode itself was just.
But that, like I said, that ending was enough for me to give a thumbs up for the episode if you've been watching the series.
Yes.
Because that is a gut punch of all gut punch. But I also am glad we got Tigress and Sportsmaster, and they were pretty accurate, especially with their comic costumes and that when we got them in the first season.
Yeah.
I just appreciate seeing them. Those are characters that I really grew to like from Young Justice. So seeing him here like that, it's great. They'll be missed, and I can't wait to see Artemis go on a warpath.
We need next episode needs to have a reaction to what's going on. So
definitely, they need to find out, and I don't know how. Like Jordan seemed like the person they would send them the remains and be like, put the puzzle together, bitches. Yeah. So, Joe, that's it for Stargirl. Let's talk about for a couple minutes our Smallville retro recap. Episode 17 or 18 is already drone. Class elections and B-Girl, which not saying we had a freaking week in this season already in the second episode, the bug guy.
Yeah, they actually talked about that on Talkville.
Which I was surprised that they remembered that too. Even though they talked about it, but I couldn't agree more with them on that. It was a little off. I remember this episode. That's the funny thing. I can remember watching this episode. I don't know why. Like I can't remember from all of them, but this is one of the episodes I can remember watching it, turning on UPN and watching it.
Oh God, that's so old.
And the other thing Chris taught me, we're watching Fox, Batman the Animated Series. We only had 16 channels when I was growing up. We only had 13 first, and then we got 3 more, and one of them was Fox.
Only 16 channels. I had 5. Okay, I had ABC, NBC, CBS, PBS, and Fox.
When did you get non-dial-up internet?
99, 2000, something like that.
Yeah, okay. They didn't get dial-up internet. They didn't get away from dial-up internet in my hometown until 2015.
But I didn't have cable until 2001, and that's when we moved from our farmhouse where I grew up in to the town just south of me, and the house we grew up in. We got cable there.
Yeah.
So I was 18, 16 or 17 at the time. So yeah, I grew up with 5 channels.
That's even more. I'm shocked because whenever I tell people 13, they're like, "What? How do you live the 13 channels?" And I'm like, we eventually got satellite TV. We eventually got satellite TV. Like, not complaining.
I like to joke with my girlfriend that she was very rich when she was younger because she had basic cable, but she also lived in Indianapolis.
Yeah,
so
like I said, with I'd trade in my cable channels to have had non-dial-up internet since 2000. That definitely would have helped with school projects from 2000 to 2004. When I moved into Capital City, no such thing as dial-up anymore, using high-speed internet at universities and that. But I didn't know about that going through high school.
God, man, that I watched a TikTok the other day of this Gen Xer showing his Gen Z daughter, there was a sound that played, and apparently she thought it was some alien ship crashing, and he's just like, what? No.
It's crazy. But
anyway,
we're here to talk about episode 18 drone.
18 is drone. This episode, it was fine. It wasn't bad, but I'm also kind of confused of how I always thought the elections are they freshmen or are they sophomores? They're freshmen, right?
Freshman, I think.
Okay. I guess having the election makes sense toward the end of the school year.
Yeah, for the next year.
Yeah.
That's probably why
That
I can.
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, just I don't know. This girl was a little obsessed with
We did you have a lot of that stuff in your school, Joe,
I
growing up? Like
don't
I
pay
didn't
attention.
I didn't like we didn't have that. We didn't have a class president until
We had a class president,
we
but
didn't have one until I think junior high. There was a junior high rep, and then because I went to a school that was K to 12.
okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
So
the whole time growing up
I
through, I never had any.
yeah, we had the class president. I don't remember when we voted on it, but more. I mean, any like election thing like that, it was usually popularity contest. It's all
Yeah,
it was.
100%. Which is, I love that they talk about that in this
Exactly.
episode. Essentially, what fleece is, and you'd
Which
see that.
how
all
the
time.
hell did she survive that? She
Yeah.
had thousands of bees on her. When she fell out of that car, she was like spasming. Like no.
Have
You're
it,
the cobra?
Principal Klein. If I was Principal Klein, not gonna lie, when I opened up that and saw that, after she got the ambulance, I'm packing up all my shit.
I'm
and
quitting my
leaving.
job. I'm
After
done.
everything that I've encountered this year. And spoiler alert for next episode, he really should have did that. Not gonna lie, he really should have did that. Just throwing that out there.
You're one up on
because
there because I don't remember the episode.
I told Joe, listeners, I was pretty sick the past couple of days. So I was lying down watching Smallville this morning. So I watched that episode. Then I watched the next episode. I can't wait for us to talk about the next episode next week because it's so good. So yeah, that was a little frustrating.
we are what 5 episodes away, 6 episodes
4.
away.
Wait, let me see. I got
This is 18, so 19, 20, 21, 22.
19, 20,
We're 4 episodes away. You're
nope,
right.
there's only 21 in this first season.
21 season?
Yep. 1, 2, 3. We have 3 more episodes left.
Okay, so we're 3 episodes away from the season finale. I remember the season finale because that was a big deal. Like I hope we get some more setup to that.
You will in the I want to say
'Cause
the
it's prom.
next episode.
Which also is weird because, freshmen don't normally go to prom. So the fact that this class was going to prom was interesting. I don't know. But
yeah, I'm really can't wait for the finale too, because I do know for a fact the 2 parts at the end tie in together. And I think it has something to do, it's been a while, but I think it has something to do with that guy that Lex hired, the investigative
I
reporter.
believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say what I really
like they didn't. Yes, they knew the show was popular, but they didn't know exactly if they were going to have more seasons.
Yeah.
So you do what you do. What you're supposed to. You have open-ended stuff throughout the season, open-ended arcs that you bring in toward the end, and you wrap everything up, and then leave it on a cliffhanger to entice it for season 2.
Yeah, and I will say, from what I remember, I think they did a great job with the finale. So I'll be interested to recheck that out.
Yes,
Joe, I really loved Lex in this episode, especially his interactions with the reporter trying to get a scoop out of him. And
you mean the Mighty Duck?
Yeah, quack, quack, quack.
Yep. I forgot she was even. I forgot she was even in this. I mean, I know it's only the 1 episode, but like as soon as I saw him, like, holy crap! I remember her.
Yeah, same. I really enjoyed that as well. But I did love Lex's back and forth with her. It was really
that was really good.
It showed Lex.
Especially when she subs in for the masseuse, and she gets done once he agrees to the article, and he's like, "Where are you going? Like, I pay for an hour. Come on, let's go."
I gotta say, I love Rosenbaum criticizing this on the Taco podcast, but he's like, I'm sorry, but if you're Lex Luthor, at a certain point, you're like, guys, like, what am I paying for security for?
Yeah.
Like, how did this girl get in here? Like, I could be killed at any point in time. Like, I need to get some new guys.
I also liked the way he handled, the way he talked to Lana about the Talon losing money and almost going under, and just how he's like, look, this is your battle. You have to handle it.
It reminded me a little bit of like teach a man to fish, or fish for a man, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day, teach a man to fish, he'll
eat for a lifetime.
For a lifetime. So that's what it reminded me of. Like Clark even asked, which I thought that was a little bit weird, like after Lex swooped in to save the Talon, asking him again to help. And I do love, like you said, how Lex went about this. He did not do anything for Lana. He made her have to earn her own keep, which it was nice to see. trying to think if there was anything else that really stood out to me this episode.
I know Allison Mack is a problem now. I mean, she was a problem then too, but like she is doing a wonderful job as Chloe.
They commented and in this episode. They said that she did a great job acting.
Yeah, like she. I remember her in the role of Chloe as just her character was amazing the entire series.
Yes,
and the fact that Allison Mack herself is problematic sucks, but Chloe is just she's a journalist and she has her beliefs and she's grilling Clark is like, hey, like I understand that you're going to be doing this even though Pete kind of forced you into it. What's your stances on some of the stuff going on?
I love
and
that
he's
as
like,
well, Joe.
He's like, well, I don't know. Well, you like Paul's doing this. Like, what you need to
Paul's in a coma or Paul's in the hospital and he's still doing shit.
Like, you need to understand stuff that's going on in school. You can't just be like run up because that's what Felice was doing. She was running on the popular vote,
and she probably would have won. But
she would have won easily.
She was not. She was in a coma. That would be
so the fact that Chloe is standing up for her beliefs of like, you need to have principles of what you're doing. You can't just say free pizza everywhere. Like,
I love that she endorsed Paul.
Yeah, exactly.
He saw it. He was heard about it, which eventually he was like, "Yeah, you were right."
Yeah, exactly.
I did enjoy that about Clark as well. I'm glad he had that reaction because I probably would have had that reaction too at first initially. But Clark is the kind of person that he will come around.
Well, they even said like, I hate that we're arguing. We're like some best friends. We haven't had a disagreement since we were like 4 or whatever. Like you were right. I apologize. Like he like you said, he knew he was wrong, and he stood up. Like he backed himself up.
Yeah,
you know, he fixed the problem.
Yes, and like I'm okay with that. It was a filler episode, if we're being completely honest, but
still not bad. Like it still was a fairly decent episode.
Yes, it like I said, it showcased a lot. I did enjoy the save, the save of Martha. I did not enjoy the save of the bee lady because that was a bit outrageous. There's multiple things I want to complain about on that front. One is, do you have parents that you speak of all the time? Because first off, you got a whole like, how are you getting fed? Like you talking to your parents, like your parents, like no sight of the parents in this. You have the big explosion at the end. Nobody comes out or anything like that. You don't see any parents or anything the whole time. And then Clark walks out. Oh my God, I got all kinds of dust and soot on my face. Look at my magic clothes from Krypton that don't even have anything wrong with them. But
she is like all damaged. Yeah.
And whenever he gets shot with bullets, his father a couple episodes ago shot him in the chest. What happened?
Yeah, he put his coat on and zipped it up.
But the shirt kind of got a little hole in it there, at least. Yeah, apparently fire doesn't do anything to clothes.
Now there is some canonical reasoning for that. He's got a bit of an aura around him that allows him to keep his clothes from getting dirtied and bruised. That was a big thing with when he was fighting Doomsday in the comics.
Yeah,
that aura is gone. That's why he was getting his ass handed to him. That's why his uniform got tattered. That's why the cape fell off. But yeah, if he didn't have that, when he would go flying in the comics, all of his clothes would rip off and just be shredded, because especially the speed that he goes from time to time. Similar here, when he's running in the show constantly, do you ever see his shoes wear out? No, because he's got a aura around him that can keep his clothing protected.
Thank you for telling me that, Joe. That's going to be my headcanon from now on. Whenever I see, that's all I needed. Like I said, this was an enjoyable episode, but it wasn't like the best. It wouldn't be one I tell you go watch Smallville, because this is what Smallville's all about.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for next week, listeners. That's all. It was very enjoyable. I'll probably watch it a second time too.
I haven't watched it, so
you'll enjoy it, Joe. You'll enjoy it.
When I start watching, I'll probably remember it.
You definitely will.
I'm getting to the episodes where I'm like, I remember this episode more and more. So I know, like seasons
Arguably,
one.
probably their biggest guest star for that season, depending on. Okay, that came out in 2002. Just give me 2 seconds here to see when that guy started his big show.
Oh, who was the guest star?
Adam Brody.
Oh, that's right. I remember
Yeah.
talking about that.
No,
I mean,
this was pre OC.
I mean, this is
This
yes.
launched him into a multiple episode arc on
Well,
Gilmore Girls, and then a starring role in the OC.
heck, with Jensen Ackles popping up in season
3,
was it 3 or 4?
3 or 4, what 3, which is just 3.
Okay, like that was him popping up in 3.
4.
Like I liked his character, whichever season it was. I liked his character so that when he went to Supernatural, I followed him to Supernatural. You know, so like this show. I'm not saying that it launched everybody, but like they had people on here that people were watching the show, they got recognized. Sam Witwer in season 6.
Yeah, no.
What was that for?
That was long way. He was Doomsday. That was
Yeah.
in season 7 or 8.
No.
Yes, season 6 was Lex inhabited by Zod. So season
Was it?
10 was Darkseid, and season 8 or 9 was Lex as actual Lex, and the rest of his people.
he left in season 7.
Who?
Lex.
No, sorry, not Lex. Zod. Zod is the villain in season 8 or 9, one of those seasons. The final season is Darkseid, and
I'll say this: the first 4/5, I am confident. I remember watching constantly, especially when
season 4 is the Jensen Ackles season.
Okay, so when Erica Durant showed up,
yeah,
loved her.
Agreed.
She was an amazing Lois. After that, it's kind of iffy on episodes I remember because I didn't watch them as much as I'd watched them when they aired, but I didn't watch them like you did with Arrow.
Yeah.
So
I was a bit too extreme with Arrow, where I had to watch.
Oh, I know.
Season 3, episode 1. Season 3, episode 2. Episode 1, then episode 2. Yeah. So now I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if I would even last in an Arrow trivia contest. It's been so long since I watched some of these episodes. Yeah. So like I said, this was enjoyable. It wasn't the best episode, but I look forward to the rest of this season to end off. Joe, it's been really enjoyable, like revisiting Smallville because it's all we had at one time. It's all we had. And it was awesome, folks. I know some of the VFX don't look great today, but this show crawled so that all these other shows could walk and run, these superhero shows. So I'm glad we're checking this out. Joe, that's it for this evening. I thought this was going to be a shorter episode, but we really like to talk about our DC TV and Kevin Conroy.
I like to make fun of our DC TV.
There was some enjoyable. We do like to look at some of the enjoyable stuff before we get into the absurdity. And if you were watching Peacemaker, we wouldn't be saying any of that because I thought that was a high level show, written and directed and acted really
every
well.
Single episode.
The whole thing. Yeah,
every episode got better.
It's just the way it is right now. Yeah. So Joe, I will see you next week, listeners. We will see you next week as well. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back.
How's it going, guys?